going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are checking out Wehrmacht by Sabaton. And yes, I did see, I forget your name, but I did see your comment. So your soul is now mine. I am finally checking it out. Your soul is mine now. Okay, let's be real. I've had this on the docket for a while. I just, for whatever reason, just never ended up actually checking it out, you know? I don't know why, but I finally am. And I can't be, and I'm pretty fucking excited for it. Hope you guys are too, and yeah, let's jump in. As always, the original's linked below. Go check it out, all that jazz. Let's go. Ooh. I like that intro. That's a nice sounding intro. Dude, why do I keep, like, resetting off to the side? Ooh. They really were for a long time. God, I love his voice in this. I really like Joaquin's voice in this. I'm sure I've heard it before, but on this one, for whatever reason, it's really sticking out to me. It sounds a lot more... I want to say scratchy, but not really scratchy. It's more guttural, like, ugh, like really deep down. I like it. It's a nice sound for him. Dude, I like that chorus. Like that, just sound-wise, it is very, just, as you saw, I was headbanging that. That was a very good headbangy chorus, but also, if you look at the actual lyrics for it, just a very dark, dude, are they actually monsters, or are they just young men who, you know, fell into a trap of a madman, all that jazz. And what about the men just executing orders when in fact that was proven not an actual, I'm pretty sure that was proven not a defense for during war crime tribunals of, oh, I was just following orders, when no, that wasn't an actual defense. If I remember correctly, at least. I'm sure y'all will let me know. Ooh. Sure, that's super simple, but I like that. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do of the solo is nice. Dude, this sounds awesome. God, this sounds amazing, and I could really see it in my head. It's like honestly, I instantly thought of like a war machine. Funnily enough, it's like the German war machine of just men marching, factories running, like the slam of factories, tanks rolling. Like I see a war machine whenever he's seeing this. That's instantly what popped in my head. I like the little synth, like a 90s hacker movie. Oh, I think he changed. I think that's a changed lyric because I think that was supposed to last. I think the original was supposed to last 1,000 years. Yeah, supposed to. That didn't last. That's subtle. I like that. I really like. I think that's just from the base sound of it. Like not even like favorite like necessary lyric, just favorite like line that really it hits hard. Not like hard hitting in the lethal grand design aspect of it, but in the actual just that kind of goes hard. Panzers on a line form the Wehrmacht spine is just. It just sound how he does it. The music sounds great. God, that was a great fucking song. I can't believe it took me this long. This was a really, really good one. In fact, I'm going to add this to my playlist really quick. How the fuck do I spell this? Add. Into my place. This is a good one. I'm definitely gonna. This is a good one. I liked it. And we're going to hop straight into the history portion now. Hope you guys stick around for that. Let's go.
I'm Indy Nidell, and this is Joachim from Sabaton.
And this is Sabaton History.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Sabaton's songs are about specific people, battles, or events in military history.
Aber nicht Wehrmacht.
Da, 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 da.
From March 1935 on,
God, that intro goes hard.
Adolf Hitler stopped secretly rearming the German military and instead openly announced that he would put an end to the restrictions of the Treaty of Versailles. He would reintroduce conscription, expanding all three branches, the Army, the Kriegsmarine, and the newly established Luftwaffe, building a powerful new German Wehrmacht. From a force of 100,000 men in 1933, the Army would swell to 2.6 million in 1936. But this was just the beginning
that's a shitload really quickly.
Under the influence of General Werner von Blumberg, Nazi
especially considering they were, if I remember correctly from my history and whatnot, they were actually really well trained as well. That's a big ass army, really well trained in 2 years.
Ideology began taking hold within the army, right? Officers had to take political seminars. Those considered as too unreliable were simply kicked out, and those openly opposing Hitler were turned over to the secret police. Jews were excluded, the influence of the church was severely curtailed, and soon regular enlisted men were not allowed to marry non-Aryan women. The once conservative character of the German officer corps began also changing under the influence of the National Socialist ideology. The younger generation especially were receptive to the self-declared saviors of Germany, and through youth groups like the Hitler Jugend or the likes of the Reichslabor Service, the German...
I mean, if you look at it, when it comes to young men, when it comes to this, it kind of makes sense in the sense of they would have been incredibly young, if born at all, when the treaty was signed. So more than likely, a lot of the time, the younger generation probably just grew up through the, what would you call it? Where they grew up in the absolute dirt that was post-war World War I Germany. Like, no money whatsoever, all that, and some dude comes out of the woodworks. You don't really know him. You don't hear about him until he becomes fairly big as, like, Chancellor. And he seems to be pulling your country out of the dirt, promising to reverse what happened to your country. And yeah, and then you have Hitler Youth, where it's just young indoctrination. It makes sense if you think about it.
German people were gradually
look how young they
into
fucking
militaristic
are.
structures, preparing them for future service in the armed forces. Much of the actual German army principles came from the experiences of the Great War. Squad techniques revolved around the firepower of the machine gun, and the stormtroop tactics favored aggressive action with extensive physical training and military drilling. Strong emphasis was placed on the NCOs, flexible independent thinking, in what the Germans called Auftragstaktik, mission-type tactics, allowed the lower officer corps to improvise according to the situation at hand, to keep the tactical initiative in battle without having to follow strict orders that may be outdated or unsuitable.
Yeah, very smart plan to center your military around.
Use of combined arms doctrine. While its infantry units varied in quality, the Wehrmacht's most formidable force and the backbone of its offensive capabilities was to be armor. It was an impressive leap from simple training with dummy tanks and tractors in the 1920s to the most sophisticated...
German prototype tank, Großtraktor, big tractor.
Training with dummy tanks and tractors in the 1920s to the most sophisticated and advanced tank doctrines in 1939. Panzer divisions were mini armies in and of themselves, supported by motorized infantry, pioneers, reconnaissance units, and artillery. They could operate independently and exploit breakthroughs on their own, supported by
which we've seen multiple times.
Close air support.
In
the
videos.
Fundaments of the tactical system that the Allies would soon experience as blitzkrieg were carefully prepared. The ability of the Wehrmacht to consequently adapt and improve itself through experience and new weapon systems set it apart from other armed forces in the world. From the rather simple Mark I and II tanks to the mighty King Tiger and Panther tanks in the late war years, they were very capable of improving on their designs and further pushing the technical boundaries of what was possible. The soldiers had high-quality weapons.
Only issue with their tanks is later on in the war, especially, they overcomplicated them and they were unreliable. Like, I know the Panthers issue was the transmission. I think it was mainly transmissions, actually, because I'm trying to think. I think the Tiger also had a transmission issue. If not an engine issue. I'm pretty sure Stoogs had a very big issue in Africa where they would overheat very easily.
Weapons, gadgets, and explosives with which to take on the enemies of the...
And also because they were so complicated, they were nearing like mid to late war, when Germany lost access to resources to build them, they just weren't able to. And they also focused too much on wonder weapons, such as like they put heavy research and whatnot into stuff like the mouse instead of fixing shit that they already had that was proven to work.
Reichs,
When the mouse, well, a cool concept would have been too slow to actively use. It just wasn't useful for the kind of fighting they would have needed.
Motorized Panzer Grenadiers, elite parachute
I'm pretty
and
sure.
resilient mountain infantry troops were trained and led with the utmost combat efficiency in mind. If it came to war, they would break the enemy and break them fast, achieving breakthrough with a series of devastating hits. However, while the German Wehrmacht certainly did not lack for tactical ability, its leadership would totally fail to implement a coherent strategic vision and soon fell victim not only to ideological interference, but also its own hubris. Despite the rapid rearmament, the German Wehrmacht was not ready to openly challenge Europe nor the rest of the world. The German economy was unstable, and the war machine was very dependent on international supplies, often from the realms of their future enemies. For Hitler, however, war with the great European powers seemed inevitable. If sooner or later, the Wehrmacht had to go to war with the Reich's neighbors.
Oh, what the fuck was that? That seemed huge.
The German Reich would be great again, or it would not be at all. Most of the old guard German generals and higher officers who had experienced the Great War firsthand did not embrace Nazi ideology outright, but did agree with Hitler's rejection of the Versailles Treaty and his rearmament
Makes sense.
Many generals shared his...
It's Treaty of Versailles. Yeah, we don't agree with that, but your actual ideology itself is dog shit. Don't fucking agree with it.
Aversion to Jews and Bolshevism, tracing back to their own experiences of the German Revolution.
Wait, what'd that say?
Treaty and his rearmament policies. Many generals shared his aversion to Jews and Bolshevism, tracing back to their own experiences of the German Revolution and the local Bolshevik uprisings after the Great War.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Pragmatists or technocrats. Others resigned themselves to the Prussian ideal of the apolitical general. But by no means were they blind or helpless devotees to the Nazis' blood and honor ideology. And many were very much opposed to violence against prisoners and civilians. But the generalship failed to make a move against Hitler when they still had the power to do so. Once all high-ranking opposition was either... Sadly,
that happens way too much in history of you waited too long to actually do something. That happens way more often than you would actually think. And it's just sad that happens. Honestly, you know what I want to learn about more? Because I have no actual concept of how this story actually went, other than the fucking Tom Cruise movie. I want to learn about Operation Valkyrie or whatever, when they tried to assassinate Hitler. I want to learn about that. I don't really know anything about it, I don't think, other than a couple of his generals tried assassinating him, and Tom Cruise was in a movie about it. I don't know anything about it. If you guys have a video that I could watch to teach me about it, that'd be great.
Removed or silenced in the wake of Hitler's victories, it was way too late for that. As early as the assimilation of Czechoslovakia into the Reich, but especially after the Polish campaign in September 1939, the crimes of the SS and the police against Jews, other civilians, and prisoners could hardly have gone unnoticed by the Wehrmacht. The mass executions of non-combatants, often done with the resources of the army, prompted vehement protest from many Wehrmacht generals who saw this as real stains of honor on the German soldiers. They were either ignored or silenced by Hitler. Soon, though,
not a big surprise,
Einsatzgruppen and the Waffen-SS began challenging the army's monopoly as the armed forces of the Reich. And while the Einsatzgruppen acted as the harbingers of the Holocaust, the Waffen-SS showed fanatical belief in both National Socialism and the righteousness of the war. by 1939, men like General Blaskowitz, they still tried to appeal to Hitler personally. When high officials of the SS and the police called for atrocities and brutalities and publicly praised them, then within the shortest spell of time, only the brutal will rule. With astonishing speed, men of the same sick leanings and character will come together in order to give full vent to their beastly and pathological instinct. General von Rundstedt added that the great achievements should not be soiled by the behavior of irresponsible elements. But although many German generals condemned the execution of thousands upon thousands of civilians by the SS and its auxiliaries, they failed to prevent them from happening. Their moral objections did not.
I was gonna say, you objecting to it, or not objectifying, objecting to it just like that. You didn't. They failed to do anything. I want to say verb wise, but no, not verb wise. I don't know. Actionable, I guess. Physical. They objected in writing and morally, but didn't do anything physically to prevent them.
Turn into action.
That's what I was going
And
for.
The Wehrmacht became slowly but surely an accomplice to those crimes. These spectacular victories in Poland, Scandinavia, and especially France further helped to silence the internal critics. By 1941, Hitler and the Nazis were at the height of their power and approval, and Hitler had pardoned all excesses that the German army had committed during the Polish campaign, and further gave Heinrich Himmler and the SS more power to reorder the East. Seemed like nothing could stop the Wehrmacht, whose skill in combined warfare was unchallenged by any of its rivals. It also had a tactical strength that would continue to negate the superior technical, numerical, and economic resources of the Allies for some time to come. And its cohesion and imaginative operational thinking were unparalleled. This perceived superiority, however, also sparked a fatal hubris, especially in Hitler and the higher Nazis, that now took more and more control away from the actual architects of the previous victories.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the Eastern Front was not.
I didn't know that Hitler and all them took power away from the people who actually made it possible to win those victories, because they thought they were under the assumption that they did.
Only
okay,
the place where the
that's
German
interesting.
army would be broken, it was also the place where it would lose its morality. Hubris had caused High Command to disregard the warnings, disregard the concerns of the Wehrmacht's more level-headed officers. Despite its initial victories, the invasion of the USSR in 1941 showed that the German Wehrmacht was by no means prepared to fight such a demanding war against an enemy on such a magnitude. While the spearhead of the elite panzer units and motorized troops were racing ahead, most of the army was still marching on foot or with horses, and despite their tactical superiority, they failed to destroy the enemy's armies before their vital momentum ran out.
Yep, and then they didn't have the
Eastern Front
logistics to continue
turned
it.
into an unforgiving battle of annihilation between two fundamentally opposed worldviews.
God, it's so crazy that some of these videos that they're showing is just real footage of just people who died. Like, it's insane. Like, it looks like it could just be part of a movie that they released back then, but no, it's more than likely that those soldiers died and they were just like the body on fire on the tank. Just, yeah.
Orders
That's
to
insane.
mercilessly execute commissars and partisans would turn common soldiers into murderers, as their environment
that's a fucking
turned into
crazy
a
photo.
self-reinforcing cycle of violence and atrocities. While more and more Jews and other undesirables
God,
in
I've
the
seen
eyes
this
of the
fucking
Nazis were
that fucking video of just look, I don't want to touch you with fuck you.
rounded up by the SS and its auxiliaries right under the army's nose. The Wehrmacht soldiers themselves were dragged into a war for survival it was only escalating in intensity as the pendulum of war swung eventually back out against them. Year after year, as victories turned to defeats, the soldiers began to fight less for Hitler's grand design and the so-called righteousness of the crusade against Bolshevism, but instead for pure survival, for the comrade next to them, and the safety of the fatherland.
I mean, isn't that... I swear there's a fucking quote. Yet again, I love my quotes. There's a quote that I swear encapsulates this. That goes something along the lines of, we don't fight for ideologies or the politicians back home. We fight for our brothers, the men and women beside us. Or something. I swear that's a quote, something along those lines. Of, I don't fight for anyone else. I fight for the people next to me in this for the people next to me.
Retreating,
I swear that's a fucking quote.
Of those that had suffered at the hands of Nazi crimes, they fought on until their backs finally broke. Till the end, driven back to the very doorsteps of Hitler's ambition, the Wehrmacht continued to fight on until it could fight no more. The graves of the German soldiers and their allies who fell in pursuit of a supposedly 1,000-year-long empire are many and dispersed all over Europe, the former Soviet Union, Africa, and the high seas. The questions remain. Crazy madmen on a leash? Or young men who lost their way?
It's a mix.
An army whose morals were systematically poisoned?
It's overall, you can't put one label on it. Like, it's impossible to do that. It is always a mix of everything. Is one thing more than the other? Sure. But overall, were there madmen on leashes in there? Yeah. Were there young men led astray? Yeah. Were parts of the Wehrmacht corrupted until it poisoned and corrupted until there was nothing left of it? I'm sure. But you can't place one label on. To put one label on it is fucking stupid and just idiotic.
Well, there is no easy answer. Well, those are good questions, you know?
Yes.
They are good questions, but there's questions that you can't, there's no one answer to.
Sure that you'll write them in. And I know that's quite controversial, right?
Very, yeah. I mean, we got some shit for that song, both from, well, Germany and Poland, actually.
Specifically Poland, not...
Yeah, because we had some song about talking about, well, Polish heroism.
Not a big surprise that it honestly doesn't surprise me that Poland had an issue with it.
And bravery. We do have that on, you know, from several countries, not only Polish, you know.
Well, 40-1 was the first episode.
Yeah. And it was actually a column in a national magazine questioning how we could do such a thing.
In Poland? Or?
In Poland, yeah.
Okay.
How could Sabaton possibly even ask those questions, you know? And I think...
You're upset, but that's stupid to ask. How could you ask those questions? Because it's fucking true. Like, it is true. It's stupid to think otherwise. I'm not going over it again.
Questions are always good. You should never be afraid to ask questions.
Never be
you
afraid
know?
to ask
you shouldn't.
However, be very, 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 very fucking careful about claiming facts or saying this is the way it was. But asking the questions is a healthy thing to do.
Well, one problem with that was specifically claiming the facts. Like, when we talk, for a song like Wehrmacht, again, it's not about a specific person or a specific thing. You're talking
it's about the entirety of the...
that involved millions of people. And it's hard to pick one person and say, out of all those, and say they're all exactly that specific thing.
Yeah. You can't do that.
You can do that with much of anything.
But exactly what I was just saying.
What was the reaction there? Was it negative as well, or was it kind of neutral? Or
actually, good question.
Always a thing with Germany, which I think is a shame that it's still a little bit. It's getting better and better every day.
Yeah.
But don't mention the war. You know.
Yeah, it's always for the longest time, it's just taboo in general to really talk about it, I think. I mean, fuck, you still have certain countries that I know in Germany, like World at War, Call of Duty World at War, they had to have a censored version of the game because they showed the swastika in it. And because even though it's depicting a historical war, they refuse to keep it. I mean, fuck, look at Japan. Japan in general, it isn't until like fairly recently that they even started admitting to some of the crimes they committed during the war. And even then, it's not taught about. I mean, a majority of the population do not know what the fuck they did during the war because it is not taught. I mean, I've seen plenty of stories of even just of people who moved from different countries in Asia to America, where I forget what it was or where I saw it, but it was some video I saw where this dude's family is Korean. Like his grandparents moved to the U.S. and his grandmother was still alive, and he had a Japanese American friend, and his grandma would not let the friend over because he had Japanese ancestry over what Japan has historically done to Korea. And there are stories like that everywhere. But Japan will not really talk about what the fuck happened during the war.
That thing.
You guys mention it all the time.
All the time.
You mention a lot of wars at Germany or the Holy Roman Empire or Prussia. You mention it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
mentioned the war. And I think I got away with it.
So far, so good.
Yes. No, but it's... I think it's healthy to talk about those things. It's healthy to ask these questions, actually. It is
controversial,
healthy. Yeah, maybe it is. But hell, if you don't ask the controversial or uncomfortable questions, I don't think we'll learn anything. It's a bit of a danger I think, in a political climate when you try to avoid everything.
It's a danger of ignorance. It's a danger of ignorance of... I forget the quote I was about to say, but yeah, no, you cannot be ignorant of it. This isn't the quote I was thinking of, but those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, or whatever the fuck the quote is yeah, you have to talk about it. It may be uncomfortable, but it is something you have to talk about.
Uncomfortable, or not.
Or paint everything in black and white.
Exactly. Very, very dangerous situation.
Well,
almost nothing is just black and white.
I mean, I think history's cool because I'm a historian, but a lot of people don't think it's cool, and that's fine. But it's necessary to either avoid mistakes you've made in the past or to do the same thing again.
God, it really is strange to me that people don't find history interesting. Like, I remember high school, or not even just high school, just even before high school, even in middle school and shit. It always really, I was actually always surprised that kids were not interested in history whatsoever. I don't understand it. I'd be like, oh, hell, what's your favorite class? Oh, it's math. It's shop. It's PE, or some of the bigger ones. And then I'm just sitting here like, dude, I fucking love history. What? Why? It's so boring. Bitch, how is history boring? It's so interesting and cool to learn about. I mean, look at the history of my fucking YouTube channel. So much of it is just history-based because I find it so interesting. Not even just war stuff either. I found it fucking interesting learning about the Industrial Revolution of all fucking things. The whole concept of we started, it's just so cool, and I don't understand how people also... I mean, it's your prerogative, but I just do not understand how other people cannot find it interesting.
Because it specifically worked out for something you like. And since Wehrmacht, that's a story of how did you get to this point?
No, absolutely.
It's not just saying, okay, it's 1943 and all these people are jerks because they killed all these people. It's well, okay, yeah. How did you get to that point?
Exactly.
Right?
There's a story
That's
leading up to it.
where the important parts of history is, and that's at least what I hope we do well on World War II, Between Two Wars, and here with the stories of that. Yeah. What about the song itself?
It's a
Yes,
bit of
let's
a
hear about
different
it
one,
itself.
actually. It's you know, I used to say that every Sabaton album has one or two songs that are a bit different. And on this album, Coat of Arms, it would be this one and this track, The Final Solution.
Right.
Both are a bit controversial on the
Sure.
topic, of course.
Imagine that.
But musically, this one is a bit more mechanized, a bit different. I guess I was inspired a little bit from the band Crimson Glory.
Now, is there a part of the song you'd want to play right now?
Let's do the verse.
Yeah, see? God, what do you say? Mechanized or whatever? Yes, that's instantly the vibe I got.
I found out today, actually by chance, that this warhead.su, they're doing the translations, right?
Yeah.
And or
They
the
are, yeah.
subtitles.
Subtitles, yeah.
Subtitles. And I thought, you know, the SU, I didn't know which domain it was. And Per made a joke.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
the Soviet Union. I'm like, yeah, come on. You know,
That's what I would.
probably,
That's
you know,
instantly
some
what I thought.
kind of-
I'm trying to
Some
think.
island in the Pacific or
some
something.
island in the Pacific.
Like, I'm trying to think what country that would be. SU. SU is instantly Soviet Union in my brain. I'm assuming the way he's talking about it, I'm assuming an old domain of the Soviet Union.
We never heard of it, and they just got that because it's cool. But it turns out SU is actually the designation that the Soviet Union got just a few months before it collapsed. So,
So they're already doing domain names back then, really?
yes.
Okay.
They
Oh!
got this in 1990.
And they still have an SU address?
Yeah, I think it said something on Wikipedia that Russia still controls the SU.
I want an SU address.
I want that. I want Sabaton.su.
So I like
That's
little,
interesting.
Mark IV tank there.
Anyway,
So, yeah.
thanks to the Warhead guys for subtitling.
Oh yeah, thanks to the Warhead guys for subtitling.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks to
guys.
the
I love your
Warhead guys in the
subtitles.
Soviet Union.
For
Subtitling. Okay.
That's actually
it for
super
today
cool.
On Sabaton History, but we'll see you in just 1 week, yes?
Take care. We'll see you in 7 days.
See you next time.
All right.
That was good. I will see you guys in. What day is today? It's Wednesday. I'll see you guys Friday then for the next Sabaton song. Tomorrow is probably Ocean Liners disasters, maybe. Either that or the Russian Badger video. I'm not Arma 3 video. I'm not sure which one. Probably Russian Badger, because I really want to check out that video. Either way, this was a good episode. I really enjoyed it, and I'm sure you guys can tell. I talked a lot this episode. I super enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well. Make sure you guys check out both videos. They're linked below. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below, and until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.